Selamat datang. Thanks for having me and having us here. My presentation will be about creating a digital representation of reality, because that's what we do. Here, we used to be called NavTech, Navigation Technologies, and we provide an integral piece for the tools that Esri provide and that a lot of you are using in your everyday work. So we've heard a lot about smart cities, sustainable future, big data, how to analyze this, what are the trends, and we provide a reflection point for this, a basis for such trends, for applications. The world is moving amazingly fast. I've been here in KL last time a year ago, and the amount of cranes out there, the dynamics are simply mind-blowing. So infrastructure is changing, people travel even more so than ever in the world before. So I'm a Kampong boy, just outside Stuttgart in Germany. So I've been brought up in a village, and my parents used to basically live within, I'd say, 100 kilometers around the city of Stuttgart. This is where you had your family, this is where you went on vacation, this is where your place of work was. Now here I am in Southeast Asia, one of the most dynamic and surely exciting regions in the world, and I've been living in this region for over 6 years, and it really is amazing. So things change dramatically within a lifetime, and we need to reflect this in our map database. So it's a huge task, but it's one that's horribly exciting as well. And again, today I'm going to show you how we do it, creating this digital representation of the world, and how we do it. A bit of background on the company. So we used to be called NavTech, Navigation Technologies, but we are Here Technologies, and it's a company that's backed by very interesting partners. The backing companies include a series of automotive companies. They acquired our company to ensure success, and it's something that stands in good stead because the stakeholders, they drive us hard. The automotive industry is one that's known for extremely high quality standards, so you don't get away by doing things half-heartedly or not providing quality. So the likes of Mercedes-Benz, Daimler, BMW and Audi, the Volkswagen Group, make sure that we provide the best possible map. On top of this, it includes technology partners, some of them globally renowned, like Intel, like NVIDIA and Mobileye, who have their own niches in technology. And we believe combining these strong points, the strengths that these companies have, we create something bigger and more valuable for our customers. We also have Chinese investors. Why is that? We believe you need to be in one of the largest countries in the world, in terms of population certainly, but also in terms of dynamics. And it gives us additional coverage also. For example, in automotive, but that's just one vertical, China make up 30% of the world's market. If you don't expose yourself to these dynamics in such a big market, you're missing out. You're not challenged enough, and that's where we want to be. I believe the interesting piece here is it's a series of companies. They're all pretty competitive. They've been around for a while. They remained very competitive. Is that some of these companies, including these automotive manufacturers, they are fierce competitors. So for most people in the world, you either buy a BMW or a Mercedes-Benz. You don't usually, few people do, buy both of them. So they're really competing at the front end, but they have realized they cannot go without joining forces with a competitor. So it's about being open and collaborating, sharing data, and eventually possibly services with the rest of the world. If you don't share, if you don't collaborate, you may be missing out, and you may be losing your competitive edge. So why am I here? here in Esri have been collaborating for over a decade. So there's a strong bond between the two companies, and the bond is based on success. So the Esri tools, the software that Esri offers are established the world over. Added to that, the map, the location component that we bring into play, we're a formidable source. We're an Esri premium partner. We have global partnership, but this event here in Malaysia is very important. So being global is good because it exposes you to the world's challenges, and they're very different. Like I said, China is very different compared to Scandinavia, Latin America, but we want to know this all. An example that I like to use is, for example, Korea. It's not the biggest country in the world, but in terms of some of the development, for example, for visual components, it's absolutely world leading. So other mature markets like North America and Europe actually benefit from a lot of the development in terms of visual components that take place in Korea. So we want to be there, we want to understand what's happening, and we want to recreate and look at synergies across the world. So we need to expose ourselves to the key markets. And being here in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, means we want to further understand what you need in terms of map, in terms of location. And already, a message to you, please make sure later after the presentation you visit our booth. We're a friendly bunch, and we want to hear from you. We want to understand what you need, because our customers, you drive our product roadmap. The HERE map is part of a suite of Esri tools. It's integrated in the most widely used Esri products. That's ArcGIS Online, World Geocoder for ArcGIS, the Business Analyst, and a Street Map Premium. So ArcGIS Online uses a lot of our data, including traffic patterns, and real-time traffic. Traffic, one of those dynamic services, what we see that's very important, again, the world over, including Southeast Asia, whether you're stuck in traffic in Jakarta, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur. Ideally, you know when to set off for a meeting to meet friends, and that's a very vital product in our portfolio, and I'll come to this later. You need to collaborate to have the best-in-class traffic service, because it's based, amongst others, on probe data. So cars are big computers out there. If you connect and understand at what pace, at what tempo these cars move, whether they get stuck because of rain, then you create high-quality service. If you don't, if you end up with a small set of probe data, you don't have a competitive service which cannot be used, which users don't want to be used. Okay. A couple of numbers on here. So we've been in mapping for 30 years. So the company was founded in the Silicon Valley in the mid-80s, and we have been focusing on map and anything location ever since. That's our business. We have over 8,000 employees, and they're based in 56 countries. So in Singapore, people say I'm an Ang Mo. That's true, absolutely. But we are global and local. It's very important to have an understanding of each and every local market. And hence, we have local teams, entirely people from Malaysia who are constantly in touch with colleagues in other countries, whether it's Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific, Europe, or North America. And that way, they expose themselves to other customer situations, to new products, and that's what keeps us fit and strong. We have a map of over 200 countries that we have a high-quality map. And our fleet consists of more than 400 vehicles that collect data for our maps. We have 700,000 3D data points collected per second with our LiDAR cars, including here in Southeast Asia, and they collect an enormous amount of data. One interesting point is 28 terabyte map data of location data, only location data, every day is collected. And this means we have over 1 million changes to our map database every day. That's what we capture. And it's growing exponentially because the world is dynamic. And we continue to adapt and revise and enhance our collection technologies to make sure that we capture as early as possible and have it available to you as soon as possible. A result of this is that our map is in more than 100 million cars, and 4 out of 5 cars in mature markets, in particular the Americas and Europe, come with our map. And again, moving forward, this will not be a simple SD map for navigation. It will be the base for autonomous driving. So we're working very, very hard and diligently on making sure that we have the most precise map, the best intelligent and dynamic services that enable a car, along with sensors, to move safely and in a possible way from A to B. Okay, so that was a bit of car, automotive. This is where we come from, but make no mistake, we don't restrict ourselves in any way to the road. That's very important. Again, there's a lot of stuff happening. The cars are now no longer simple cars. They are big computers that generate very interesting and important data that can be used in many ways. And always our thinking was, no drive in a car really ends in a parking space, because everyone gets out of the car and then meets people. They go to a business meeting, they meet friends, they go for a coffee, they go shopping. So the journey never stops at the parking space. It's always the driver becomes then a walker, and that's our perspective. So looking at that, cities have always been a key focus as well. And the cities nowadays, they face enormous challenges. More and more people move into cities because this is what most people believe is where it's at. This is where things are convenient, even for elderly. But again, there are differences, but there are more shops than in kampongs. So it's a lifestyle choice, but our job is to make sure whether it's a village or whether it's a city, we have the map and the location data that enable high quality services and applications. And the world is growing fast. So by 2050, and that's within, I'd say, our lifetime for sure, the world population is expected to grow to 9.5 billion people. So that's I think a 29% growth from present day, and that's just 33 years from now. That's not a lot. In between, the way we lead our lives and, for example, how we commute will change massively. Again, my first visit to KL was 6 years ago, and I detect a clear change. The options I have from the international airport to come into downtown are really amazing. And I know for some people it may sound strange, but I believe a lot of the infrastructure we have in place here in Southeast Asia is challenging, is extremely competitive at world level, and it continues to change for the better. So what we're doing, besides providing a map, we have a platform, a location platform. And this platform combines vast amounts of data from traffic, from cars, from mobile handsets, and infrastructures. So this platform, the HERE location platform, can harness this confluence of technologies. We can couple it with deep location data and analytics, as we've just heard from my predecessor here on stage, to produce something that's not been out there yet. So it enables new city mobility. And that includes from managing congestions, and that's what all cities in the world face. If they wouldn't have this problem, they would not be cities. To more efficient movement of goods, logistics. So we support a lot of harbor towns and the companies that run these harbors. So it's a case of being efficient, unloading, loading on time in the most efficient way. And we've only a few weeks ago struck an agreement with the city of Hamburg, which is still one of the biggest ports in the world. Apart from that, it's optimized road safety, reduction of emissions, and more effective asset management and feedback loops. So providing feedback to municipal information systems. Also interestingly is that there is a lot of cross-border traffic. So it's not good enough to have your own map, whether this is a city, whether it's a region or a country, because people move. And nowadays, in particular the younger generations, they don't care about passports. They want to go where they believe they can lead a better or a good life. And again, it's a little example, but to me, I think it outlines this really well. I'm in Singapore, northern part touches upon Johor Bahru, and I personally I'm quite regularly in JB. I'm a football fan, watching the JDD Tigers. I go across. I hope I don't offend anyone here. I'm just there for the football to watch a match, and that's what people do, because I'm a football fan and I don't care whether it's another country, it's clear, because it's just 30 minutes away from my home. And that's, you can apply that to many things, because if you have a passport, you can easily travel into another country. And that's the way it should be. The world is getting more connected, and our data shall enable systems that make life easier. So, I already hinted at that. We believe no company, no government, or any individual can do all this by themselves. And I mentioned key competitors who fight for market share, like BMW, Mercedes, Audi. They do that, but they need to work together, because one of them, they generate data, these cars, these fleets. But if you only have your own fleet, you only cover certain regions. But people travel into other regions. So you need to cooperate, you need to share data. That doesn't mean you share all data, but you share some data. And by sharing, by creating a bigger pool, by analyzing, you create new services that you cannot create if you work within your own region, with your own car fleet. And that's something new. It's something that is quite frankly challenging for many companies, but that's what's happening at the moment. That's what we see clearly. If you don't cooperate in certain ways and for certain data, you're left behind, because you only end up with your little pool of data where you cannot extract the same intelligence as if you cooperate and have it in a more semantic and in a bigger pool. So that's one of the key reasons, for sure, that further substantiates the partnership HERE has with Esri. Because only together we can solve future challenges with Esri technology and the HERE location expertise. Because if it gets combined, we create something much stronger and much more appealing for our customers. So with data, such a fragmentation that we've seen in the past, the regions sit on certain pools, but they don't share. This fragmentation is hugely restrictive to building effective services, because people travel from regions, they use different means, and cooperation is at the heart of scale and better services. Now I want to give you an example of what that means, because it sounds abstract, like what data, what are you talking about? So this is the world's first, and we announced this last year at the Paris Motor Show, and this is a bit more granular and a bit more detail on what I was just saying about the car being a big computer. That's what they are. They're full of technology, and they're full of data that they create. So here you see 11 different categories of vehicle sensor information. And this gets crowdsourced by us. And by having this, information coming from video cameras, the windshield wipers, the ignition, the brake pressure, the fog lights, the headlights, the parking sensors. That way, if you know the windscreen wipers of cars in a certain region, downtown KL, they're going this morning, most of the cars will have their windscreen wipers on. You understand, very likely there's rain, or there's an oil leakage. If you know that there is a substantial numbers of cars braking, then you know there is a hazard. And that was the first and is the first in the industry where these competitors come together and we create services that we can supply to all the automotive customers. So it makes all of the cars more intelligent. And again, if you only have one brand, it's not good enough. So here, this is an example of pooling of competitors coming together, sharing data, and it is for the benefit of all drivers. And we believe at some point, if these services are not offered in a car, and it starts with the high-end cars, but as usual, it comes down into mid-range and entry-level cars at some point. If you don't have these very competitive, very convenient, very safe services, people will struggle to sell a car without. All right. So talking about services, how do we create maps? How do you do it? So looking at the here capabilities, 2017, it's been an amazing year, in particular for APAC, because it marks a key milestone. We will reach this year 1 million unique kilometers driven by true laser technology, LiDAR cars, across 12 different markets in Asia Pacific. And it's a testimony to our commitment that we have to Asia Pacific, Southeast Asia and Malaysia. These are massively important markets. Now, probably most people say that, but it's very easy. We have a considerable customer base, and the likes of Toyota, the likes of big handset manufacturers. I don't need to mention any other names, but Southeast Asia is a growth region, and whether it's mobile phones or cars or whatever, our big global customers want us to be really, really good here in Southeast Asia, and we want to be good as well. So capturing with the best possible technology these changes out there is extremely important. The challenge remains. We want to capture everything that happens out there so that we can provide the best possible map to you. Now, the thing is, this is a big task, and that's why we focus so much on location and map. Because if you look at the number, 86.5 million real-world changes. That's what a city looks like. Yeah, you see a lot of shops and a lot of places where you can eat and drink, but there's constant change, right? And we need to capture that because that's what consumers expect. That's what you have on your mobile phone. That's what you want to have on your mobile phone, in your car, whatever you sit in front of your computer. You will have a good understanding how disaster management could work. So this relevant information needs to be captured, and the level of refinement and improvement required just to keep the core fresh is amazing. There's not many companies in the world that actually do this because it's a monumental task despite the technology. And we believe you need to have the right mix. The right mix of technology, it needs to be cutting edge and it needs to be constantly challenged. How can you do things better, more efficient? And we still believe you need to have the human element, and that means you have to have a good understanding of your region, and that's where the humans come in. And we have strong local teams in Kuching, KL, and they cover Malaysia. Basically, they're on tour most of the time, and they understand what's needed for the market. A quick one on the index, and I don't want to dwell on that because the message is here. We keep adding to our map, whether it's 3D footprints that you need for tools, height and slope, advanced driver assistance systems. We have it. We continue to enhance our map database. Yeah, reality index. That's what we call creating a map, and that's what it ends up. It's a representation of the physical world. It has enormous amounts of data, and it's no longer just location, the road. It's things, people, and we're in the drone business, supporting one of the biggest drone manufacturers, JDI. So we don't restrict ourselves to the road. Anything that has a location component. Yeah. Location. So the key that unlocks value from data, enabling a context that ensures cities can make sense of and create value from the data, provides the ability for governments, industries, organizations, and individuals to deliver and make use of improved products and services. The foundation for here will remain the map. That's where we need to be really good at. And only recently, a neutral analyst reported that here is well placed for the future, because it's not just a map. We have developer tools and everything that's needed to develop this. So, gonna finish on this. This is how we work together. It's one Malaysia map. We support this. We're very proud to do this along with Esri. Yeah, it's a key reference. And last but not least, a quick video on here.
A new digital era where man and technology fundamentally reconfigure their relationship to empower every aspect of our surroundings. Where we go from ride sharing to self-driving, from delivery to drone, from city planning to thinking cities, from street maps to an index of reality. This era is called the autonomous world. At Here Technologies, we want everyone to benefit from an autonomous world. To become a true enabler, a trusted partner, with a collaborative answer to how the future of everything will look, feel, think, and work. We are making this a reality by creating a digital representation of the world that tells us what happens where, when, in the moment, responding and reacting to make all our lives safer and smarter. With more time for what we love and less needed for what we don't. Our vision, born from the very core of Here, will exist in everything we do. An open system that will enable an autonomous world for everyone. Our vision, enabling an autonomous world for everyone.
And with this, I conclude. Thank you very much for your attention. And please see us later. But thank you.